Speaking of interference, speaking of noise, we're talking about the communication channel, and technology just can't contain our conversation. All right, I'm getting cut off by the digital deities. Right, Jim's haunting us. He's haunting me. Doesn't want me to complete a thought because he knows we're getting into some deep terrain here. We're going deeper, and we're tackling this question from Emily. Got cut off right in the middle of it. I'm just going to pick right back up where we left off. We're talking about what are the benefits to analyzing print ads? If you know how they work, you gain experience in how to create new content. We want to be content creators, not content created. All right. And then the follow-up. Why is it so important to create relationships with consumers? Yes, because we are inundated with ads all the time. Too many ads, too many competing ads equals noise. All right, that's where we were at. And consumers thus demand something more authentic to sustain us, right? So if I'm hit with ads all the time, they mean nothing to me. I'm numb to it. So advertisers say, oh, we need new strategies. We need better strategies. What works with the best brands? And the best brands connect with people. The best brands create this sense of a relationship or connection between the consumer and the product, even if it is a manufactured relationship. And that authenticity, that connection made, is what sustains the new consumer. All right, so we need to be thinking about that as a strategy. That's why the IMC book from Blakeman is important to us. What are some ways that a company can use IMC through social media? We'll get there. We will get there. All right. Newspaper advertising, chapter 9. Do you think newspaper ads are still a good marketing strategy? Locally would be my quick response. I would say locally, or it depends on the market and depends on the demographic they're trying to reach. That demographic is lessening more and more all the time. Would it benefit? What would be a benefit toward newspaper ads for businesses? Perhaps, all right, when is it beneficial to use newspaper advertising for a business? I would say when you want to engage with issues of legitimacy, right? If you can afford to advertise, then you're legitimate. I would say presence. If consumers can see you, then you're present, right? You're there. You're real as opposed to fictitious. Timeliness, all right? Certain ads can get out there in a timely manner, and for some markets, newspapers work in that way. Think about the ads that come out around our major holidays. We're having these conversations. I don't want to step on anyone's responses, but we're definitely getting deep into that arena where that's a clear tie-in to this question. You want to be able to connect with the right audience, okay? Let's look at a couple of questions from Jason, drawing first from the Ads, Fads, and Consumer Culture book. On page 16, Berger writes that, quote, sexploitation is a big problem in advertising. That could be an understatement. Still Jason's words. And then in figure 1.5, we have this alluring woman used to sell liqueur. Question, how in the world is this not regulated? I mean, come on, right? A practical question most parents would be asking, right? So let's engage it. Let's engage it at that responsible parental level. I like where your thinking is, Jason. So let me start with this. There are loose guidelines with regards to advertising, and it has to do with whether or not a text can be defined as pornography or not. All right, and so that's usually that make or break level in which something goes far beyond like sensuous or controversial to outright banned or boycotted, that sort of thing. We do have these grassroots organizations that work to try to identify and boycott and create action against products that are deemed sort of unfit or unsafe in the way they are marketed or advertised to audiences and children specifically. And to follow up here, continuing Jason's thoughts, my son sees all kinds of this junk, grabbing groceries with mom, right? Advertisements on YouTube, while watching kids stuff, right? Including things like a Victoria's Secrets ad and so on, right? And so you paint a fine picture. And let me take this even further in my response. The internet, okay, so this could be an aha moment for some of us. The internet is not regulated. Right, it is not regulated the way that television or radio historically was, and so that's where we get into a funny conversation of people feeling, oh, television is so offensive, we're getting off TV, but of course, so we're we're kind of getting faster Wi-Fi. Well, the internet, if you thought TV is offensive, while there's plenty of safe spaces online, the internet's not regulated at all. That's a organization by organization type of situation. Although you can utilize some softwares, right? Some firewalls to help check and protect and make sound decisions on a case by case basis there. But neither are streaming services, right? I don't know if it's even a topic, right, resonant with this, but a Netflix, a Hulu, a Amazon Prime. These are closer to an HBO, right, a Showtime, than traditional television, than traditional cable. Okay, so all content could potentially be more along the lines of like carry an R rating, or that sort of thing. Cinema became largely homogenized, but more like grown-ups type material shifted into this contemporary cable drama, these streaming service dramas, and so all of that exists there as well. And marketers are aware of this, and they know how to find the audiences that are seeking that. And so regulation is a tricky term, because you say, how has this not been more heavily regulated? Well, this is an easy response. I'm going to slam dunk this. Business people care about money and profit, all right? And so morality is sort of a footnote in the business world. Like, it is. And that's sometimes we demonize the entertainment industry. It's like, oh, the entertainment industry is so dark, it's so hedonistic, right? But it transcends that. I mean, this is just business ethics 101. Okay, this idea of like, well, that's terrible, and we sure got a PR mess out of it, but how's our third quarter profit doing, right? Those are the kinds of questions I think we're facing in a world where it's increasingly organized around very large corporations, okay, that make these types of regulated decisions on content, on text, on popular culture, on food, on everything, okay. Right, so good stuff. Rich discussion coming out of that. Also from Jason, commenting on the integrated marketing communication Blakeman text. Let's see, which of these robust responses from Jason. Okay, on page 8, Blakeman notes that internet databases identify targeted audiences. In 2015, this version of the text we're using, it, although a brand new one just came out. Jason would have believed that it was just tracking internet databases, tracking audiences, just tracking what I was looking at, okay, what was on screen. My question is, do you feel our phones are listening to us? My wife swears that she will talk about something, then the very next day ads start popping up, and she never, quote unquote, searched on anything. She was just talking about it. Weird, right? Yes and no. Absolutely, these are conversations we're having all the time. So good plug there. We have it in the office. We have it in the homes. for sure, right? There's just paranoia about Alexa. Did I activate her? Is she listening? But for sure, algorithms don't just monitor what we are looking at on screen or typing, right? To be specific, they are keeping track of what we're talking about now as well. And this type of surveillance is highly controversial, all right? It is. People are incredibly upset about it. But we've kind of, I don't know, I'm using loose terms here. I'm not suggesting this in some kind of theological way at all. I'm using a connotative usage of the word, but we've kind of sold our souls to Google, all right, in so many ways. And Google has these technological capabilities to track our content. Matter of fact, just to verify the little source digging earlier in the day, read a quick report. I'll try to find the from CBS News. This is February 2018, reporting by their main outlet, supposed to CBS Sports, and I lost my place. Okay, Google. So I'm reading from this report. Quote: Google says it has access to quotation 70% of credit and debit card transactions in the United States, close quote. Along with Facebook and others, it also monitors much of what we are doing across the web using hidden tracking technologies. The companies can see many of the pages people you're connected to are visiting, allowing them to better tailor their ads. All right. According to the author of one study, Google has trackers on 76% of websites, while Facebook watches us on 23% of sites. Quote: would you say that the advertising model for the internet is based on a breach of privacy? End quote. Dokopil asks, quote, response: I think it is past that level for Facebook and Google, in that people don't realize that they can be targeted to the degree that they are, end quote, Weinberg said. All right, so tip of the iceberg, folks. What a wallop. Absolutely, it is not a coincidence, okay? You can have a conversation, private conversation, and it's not that someone's out there, right, spy style in a unmarked van across the street listening to your conversation, right? That's not how that works. That's not how advertisers work. That's not how the government works. But what is likely to happen is your keywords and phrases. We talk about what are your keywords and phrases, and do strategic searches when you're researching something with keywords and key phrases. Your keywords and key phrases are getting picked up on, and then of course when you're on social media, because that's where the millennial adult is spending a lot of their time, you're all of a sudden getting magical ads for that thing, right? This is voila advertising, all right, my words, and it's not going anywhere. All right, it's only going to increase, and perhaps we should even test this out in the coming week. A great question, an important question, and here's the crazy thing. I said this report, February 2018. Oh my gosh, it's almost an old source in journalistic terms, but for a paper, it could be adequate at this point. But what I want to say was, sure, when that came out, I bet if I think back to February, I would have been absolutely outraged. Fast forward 9 months, I've totally come to this point of acceptance, like, yeah, done it, and it's too late, right? And what now? I don't know. We'll keep on trekking and see what happens. We're gonna take our chances. Let's take another break. We'll be back with our next segment of asynchronous dialogue.